For a full 24 hours, the internet behaved like it had witnessed the downfall of an empire. Timelines were exploding, comment sections were celebrating, and people were posting victory memes as if justice had finally arrived wrapped in a golden ribbon. Everyone genuinely believed that Jack Doherty was about to spend real time behind bars, not the usual 5-minute influencer jail cameo he loves to romanticize, but an actual stay that could humble the arrogance out of him. And honestly, the world was ready for it. The way people cheered, you would think the judge had slammed the gavel and tossed the key straight into the ocean. But then, the plot twisted. Jack posted bond like it was nothing, walked out with that smug grin, and the internet celebration turned into an awkward silence that tasted like betrayal. The most shocking part? While everyone was too busy dancing on his digital grave, nobody bothered to read what the charges actually meant. And trust me, the details were not just messy, they were career-ending levels of messy. The kind of messy that does not bury you today, but sneaks up later and drags you down even harder. Because depending on how this story unfolds, Jack is not looking at a slap on the wrist. He is staring at a future that could get 7 years darker if the charges decide to cling to him like a curse. 7 years. Influencer time does not survive a 7-year shadow. So here is what really happened. Jack Doherty did not just get picked up in Miami. No, Miami witnessed a full circus. We are talking drug possession, resisting an officer, acting completely unhinged in public like he was auditioning for a viral meltdown. Eyewitnesses said the police simply told him to step onto the sidewalk, and Jack, in true Jack fashion, attempted to challenge them to an actual duel. A duel. In the middle of Miami. While filming content. The internet still cannot decide whether to laugh or cry. But then detectives searched him, and that is when the story turned from chaotic to concerning. They found half of an orange pill marked 3, a detail that sent social media into investigative overdrive. Reddit threads lit up like wildfire, TikTok detectives started zooming in on every screenshot, and people were connecting dots faster than Jack could refresh his notifications. Authorities claimed the pill matched a Schedule II amphetamine, which is the kind of detail that makes sponsors disappear overnight and courtrooms gain interest. And now the world waits. Not because they believe Jack will suddenly change, but because scandals like this rarely end where they begin. When officers searched Jack Doherty further, the situation became even more embarrassing. They uncovered a small black container holding 3 hand-rolled weed joints, and suddenly everything about his chaotic behavior made painful sense. While Jack was screaming in the middle of the street like he was auditioning for a meltdown documentary, the officers were quietly piecing together the exact reason he was acting so violently out of character. Even the Miami Beach commissioner decided to jump into the conversation, roasting him publicly and calling him a punk and a professional antagonizer, basically announcing to the entire city that Miami had absolutely no patience left for Jack's circus-level nonsense. And then, like clockwork, the next morning arrived, and so did Jack's ego. He handed over the $3,500 bond fee, walked out with a smile that could only be described as delusional confidence, and immediately posed for the news cameras as if he had just survived a wrongful imprisonment documentary. Not even an hour later, he hopped onto TikTok and told everyone to stay out of jail, as if he had served a sentence worthy of a movie script. People were crying laughing in the comments because Jack was inside a cell for maybe 5 minutes. And while he was out here pretending he had returned from a traumatic life-changing experience, the viral clips circulating online showed exactly why nobody felt even slightly surprised by his arrest: the duel challenge, the screaming, the refusal to simply move 2 steps onto the sidewalk. It genuinely looked like he was begging to be handcuffed for views. But here is the part that keeps slipping past people: the charges in Miami were not small. Not even close. Jack walked away with 1 felony and 2 misdemeanors, and in Florida, that single felony can land someone in prison for up to 5 years. The 2 misdemeanors can stack on another 2. Worst case scenario? Jack Doherty could wake up one day and find himself staring at 7 years behind bars. And while Jack is out on bond, acting like nothing is ever going to touch him, the internet has been having the time of its life imagining the man who cannot stay quiet for 2 minutes stuck in a prison cell for that long. The memes are relentless. The jokes are merciless. A part of the internet genuinely celebrated like this was the day they had been praying for, and the reason is not the arrest alone. It is everything Jack has been doing for months, the slow-motion disaster people have been watching unfold in real time. And every time the conversation starts, it always circles back to how he treated McKinley. People forget this was not just a random girlfriend. He literally married her on a live stream in Vegas, and during the ceremony, he casually brought up a prenup in front of her father. The vows actually stated that she would receive nothing in a divorce and that Jack would own 100% of her OnlyFans income. Her father reportedly cried afterward, and that moment alone had the entire internet ready to cancel Jack permanently. But the situation became even darker when McKinley herself spoke up. She said Jack pressured her into making an OnlyFans account. She said that if she refused, he told her he would leave her. He was not just supporting her. He controlled everything, her content, her income, all of it. She said he blurred the line between their relationship and business in the worst way possible, using her image and her body to boost his own views. It reached a point where she had to call the police just to safely retrieve her belongings from his house. And that is only a single situation. There is more. There is always more with Jack. Another incident that still haunts his reputation happened at the beach, when a group of guys tried to jump him. Jack took one look, immediately sprinted behind his security like they were a human shield, and the internet has never let him forget it. He has done it so many times that people jokingly say his bodyguard should be listed as an emergency exit. And since people dragged him endlessly for it, compilation videos started appearing online showing every single time Jack dove behind his security team like it was second nature. After watching those clips, it makes perfect sense why every time he is alone, people start pressing him instantly. The shift is so fast it leaves viewers speechless. One moment he is loud, confident Jack. The next moment he is backed into a corner at a gas station with strangers ready to jump him like it is a sport. Then came Natalie Reynolds with accusations that sent the internet into a full meltdown. She said Jack pushed underage girls toward OnlyFans. She claimed he tried taking down her Instagram simply because she was not making him money anymore. And the most disturbing accusation? She tweeted that Jack waited for a 17-year-old to turn 18 so he could get her drunk on a yacht and force her into signing a contract. Jack denied every accusation, but the tweets spread like wildfire. People who had never heard of Jack Doherty suddenly stopped mid-scroll like, wait, what is going on over there? Because with Jack, it always felt like the chaos was never over. There was always another explosion coming. And then came the infamous McLaren crash, the $200,000 catastrophe that nearly broke the internet. Jack was live streaming in heavy rain, steering with one hand and filming with the other, laughing while viewers begged him to stop. Comment after comment pleaded for him to slow down, to end the stream, to focus on the road like a normal adult. But Jack acted like nothing bad could ever reach him. Then, in a single split second, the McLaren hydroplaned. The tires lost grip. The car drifted out of control. The live stream shook violently as metal crunched against metal in a sickening collision. His cameraman was thrown forward and actually injured. People watching live said it felt like witnessing a horror film in real time. And the wildest part? Even after all that, Jack tried to downplay it. But the platform Kick took one look, understood exactly how bad it was, and instantly banned him without hesitation. No discussion. No warning. The clip went viral across every platform within minutes, and the internet asked the same question over and over: how do you receive everything in life and still manage to be this reckless? Some people called it entitlement. Others called it stupidity. But everyone agreed on one thing: it was unbelievable. Just when everyone thought the chaos had peaked, the universe decided to remind us that with Jack Doherty, scandals never travel alone. They arrive in batches, like episodes in a series nobody asked to binge-watch. Because right after the McLaren disaster started cooling off, October 2023 marched in, and suddenly the internet was handed a brand new Jack crisis on a silver platter. This time, it happened at David Dorey's Halloween party, one of those influencer events filled with designer costumes, rented mansions, overpriced fog machines, and 50 people pretending they were celebrities. Jack walked in exactly the way people expected him to, shoulders squared, chest puffed out, acting like the night itself belonged to him. He had his entourage, his filmer, and of course, his bodyguard, the same one who seems to appear in every single clip that ends with police lights or an angry crowd. The party began calmly enough, but nothing involving Jack ever stays calm. A simple argument erupted, except it happened so fast and made so little sense that no one can even recall the topic anymore. The tension went from a spark to an explosion in seconds. Voices rose. Insults flew. People circled, phones already out, because everyone instinctively knew something chaotic was about to happen. And they were right. Jack's bodyguard threw a punch with enough force to derail the entire atmosphere. Screams erupted through the house. Drinks spilled. People scattered. Security sprinted in trying to contain the madness. But the damage had already carved itself into the night. By morning, Jack was trending again, not for a costume, not for a funny stream moment, but because the man who got punched filed a lawsuit for assault and battery. And at that point, the internet started connecting the dots. It did not matter where Jack went or what event he attended, drama chased him like a shadow that refused to let go. People began saying that Jack did not simply attract chaos, he created it, carried it, and spread it everywhere he walked. But even that was not the wildest moment of his year. The incident that truly shook everyone came later, the infamous CPS visit. A situation so bizarre, so tense, and so intensely uncomfortable that even Jack's most loyal fans could not defend him, not because he did something wrong, but because the entire scenario felt like watching a reality show crash into a police documentary. It began on a regular night. Jack was live, as usual, surrounded by loud music, random friends yelling in the background, people dancing off camera, the standard environment his audience had grown used to. His chat was spamming, he was laughing, the house was chaotic, everything felt normal. Until someone knocked. Not a friendly knock. Not a casual knock. But a firm, official, door-shaking knock that instantly silenced the whole room. Jack did not hear it at first. The noise inside was too loud. It took several more knocks before he paused, turned his head, and looked genuinely confused. He opened the door, and the entire mood of the stream flipped in an instant. Standing there was a CPS agent. Beside her were 2 police officers. The silence that fell over his house was unlike anything viewers had ever seen on his channel. It was the type of silence that makes your stomach drop, because everyone watching suddenly realized this was not content. This was not a prank. This was real. The CPS agent explained that a report had been filed. Something involving a minor. Something requiring immediate investigation. And the look on Jack's face, pure, unfiltered shock, told the world that he had absolutely no idea what they were talking about. He stuttered, staring blankly before blurting out, "I do not even have a child." His chat imploded instantly. Thousands of comments flooded in every second. Some people thought this was a new level of swatting. Some thought it was a prank gone too far. Others feared something far more serious. The CPS agent remained calm, explaining that regardless of claims, they were required to check, verify, and ensure no child was present or in danger. Jack stepped aside and let them in because he had no choice. You do not tell CPS officers to leave. And so the live stream followed him, awkwardly, uncomfortably, as he walked the agents through every room in the house. Viewers stared as Jack opened doors, explained that everyone present was an adult, and tried to keep the stream updated while simultaneously speaking to law enforcement. The tension was almost suffocating. People watching could practically feel the embarrassment leaking through the screen. Some viewers were laughing nervously, others were horrified, and many typed the same thought: how does something like this always happen to Jack? The truth was simple. This did not happen to anyone. This happened to someone who lived every second of life in front of a camera. Someone who turned his house into a revolving door of noise, strangers, and content. Someone who pushed boundaries so often that anonymous trolls could file something serious just to see what would unfold on stream. Eventually, CPS finished their inspection. No child. No danger. No issues. They left peacefully. But the mood of the stream never recovered. Jack looked shaken. The chat was buzzing with theories. Clips hit every platform before he even resumed the broadcast. By the next morning, the internet was exploding with reactions. This is beyond normal drama. This man's life is literally a reality show spiraling out of control. Someone needs to step in before something worse happens. Some people sympathized, acknowledging how serious and dangerous false CPS reports can be. Others said it was the natural consequence of living life without boundaries, constantly poking the internet, constantly daring chaos to knock on his door. And that night, chaos literally did. And that was the moment when more and more people started stitching the puzzle together in real time. The McLaren disaster. The Halloween assault. The CPS incident. The endless fights and conflicts scattered in between like breadcrumbs on a path leading straight into chaos. Everywhere Jack stepped, something went wrong. And at some point, the internet stopped seeing it as coincidence and started seeing it as a pattern, like his entire brand was stitched together with threads of destruction and disorder. There was this unspoken rule forming online: if you blink for even a week, you miss 3 scandals, 4 livestream meltdowns, and a handful of disturbing new allegations. His fans adored the unpredictability. His critics despised it. But everyone agreed about one thing: Jack Doherty had become the kind of person you watched carefully, because the moment you looked away, a new disaster was already unfolding. And during that CPS visit, there was a moment where everything shifted. The caseworker explained calmly that Jack's name was the only one on the report, meaning that she legally had to speak with him before she could close the investigation. There was nothing optional about it. The rules demanded it. Protocol required it. And when she said those words, viewers swear they saw Jack's entire expression glitch for a second, like someone unplugged him from reality. His face went blank, his eyes lost focus, and for the first time, he did not look cocky or loud or sarcastic. He looked terrified. And then he vanished off camera. For a full minute. An entire minute where his chair sat empty, facing the screen like some kind of eerie placeholder. The stream did not end. The audio did not cut. Nothing happened except silence. But on the internet, silence is louder than any scream. Thousands of messages flooded the chat in seconds, climbing so fast it was impossible to read even a fraction of them. Panic erupted. Confusion spread. Some viewers thought they were watching an actual emergency unfold live. Others claimed this was Jack's most twisted stunt yet. A few were so convinced something terrible was happening off camera that they threatened to call the police themselves. And the longer that chair stayed empty, the wilder the theories became. By the time Jack finally walked back into frame, everyone's imagination had already spiraled out of control. He did not yell. He did not laugh. He did not even try to explain himself at first. He looked drained, like someone had removed all the energy from his body in one brutal phone call. His eyes seemed heavy. His expression seemed hollow. He looked older, not physically, but emotionally, like someone who suddenly realized the world was much bigger and more dangerous than he thought. And that is when the internet split into two sides. Some people insist the CPS call was completely real. They say no influencer could fake the type of panic they saw in his face. They point out how his voice cracked, how his breathing changed, how he rubbed the side of his face like a person desperately trying to hold themselves together. They argue that the woman on the call sounded too professional, used too many legal terms, kept her tone too neutral and too cold for it to be staged. And they claim that no YouTuber, not even someone as unpredictable as Jack, would risk lying about a government agency calling him. That is the kind of lie that does not just spark drama, it gets people charged with crimes. But then there is the other camp. The skeptics. The ones who swear everything about that moment felt designed. They argue that Jack has staged chaos before, especially during what fans call his drama-era content. They believe he knows exactly how to build suspense, how to pull in viewers, how to make the audience feel like something catastrophic is happening even when it is not. They claim the timing was too perfect, the call happening right in the middle of a live stream when he is already drowning in controversy. They insist his pauses sounded rehearsed, his panic exaggerated, the entire moment engineered for shock value. Some people even claimed the audio sounded performed, although none of them could prove it. But that is the problem with Jack. Nobody knows what to believe anymore. He has blurred the line between reality and entertainment so many times that even when something serious might actually be happening, half the internet automatically assumes it is staged. He has been caught lying. He has been caught exaggerating. He has been caught twisting narratives to earn sympathy. So now, when something real might be unfolding, people do not trust him. It is the digital version of The Boy Who Cried Wolf, except the stakes are much higher, and the audience is much larger. And here is the one thing everyone can agree on: if that CPS call was genuinely real, if someone weaponized the system to target him, then that is not funny, not content. It is a crime. False CPS reports destroy families. They create trauma. They rip people apart and place them under microscopic scrutiny. If someone did that maliciously, then they crossed a line that should never be crossed. But if the call was fake, if this entire moment was manufactured for views, then Jack knowingly unleashed chaos into a system designed to protect children. He would have played with fire just to keep his name in headlines. Because he knows exactly